'Cause I can do bad on my own. What up, everybody? What is good? Welcome to the Damn Dude Podcast.
Damn, dude.
I'm your host, California Cal, and this is Season 2, Episode 70 of the Damn Dude Podcast, where we have the conversations that need to be had in a way that'll make you think and say, damn, dude.
Damn, dude.
Damn, dude.
Some shit to really help expand our minds, expand our context and perspective on life, and really, this show exists to help educate, entertain, and make an impact on fucking life and the way that we live it. You know what I'm saying? Mainly, this is documented for my future generation because whose kids don't want to listen to this type of shit? You know what I'm saying? I think that would be dope. Imagine if your great-great-great-grandparents had life recorded and documented to the fullest, right? And the reason I start off this episode with, 'cause I can do bad on my own, is because that's kind of the theme of the show today. Is like, dude, who you have kids with and picking a partner makes a real fucking difference. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm like, fuck it, let's just jump right into this bitch. It was a good weekend this weekend. Spent time with my kiddo, my younger one. And it was cool, man. He's learning so much. He's starting to talk so much. It's really exciting. It's cool. It's getting a lot of fun. We went surfing. One of the days I just felt like ass and I just slept almost the whole day and just let him terrorize the house. I mean, I didn't sleep the whole day, but on and off, I was just like in nap mode here and there and here and there. So I feel better now. And, yeah, surfing was fucking incredible. We rode some fast-ass waves. It was really fun. Went out to eat with my mom, his grandma. Yeah, it was pretty sick. So, more so getting into this, dude, thinking about having kids and thinking about having baby mama drama or baby daddy drama or whatever the fuck, right? A lot of this can be avoided if we spend the right time vetting our potential partners. Like, to the fucking fullest. And I think back and I'm like, dude, well, hold on. Before I say all that, excuse me. When we have kids with somebody, like, who you have kids with makes a world of a difference. Now, I don't really believe that having a kid is like a mistake. Like, let's say, okay, even if you were just fucking fooling around and you accidentally had your kid, right? I still don't find that as a mistake necessarily. Like, I believe that that's essentially like God's work in a sense. Now, you can take this different directions, and people extremely on like the left side of politics, are very like, like very pro-abortion and all that sort of shit. And I'm like, okay, I get it. And then the argument is like, and this is not about abortion, but this is just a little side note to this whole thing because it needs to be said, is that, okay, what about, a woman gets raped and gets pregnant or gets, or incest happens or something crazy like that. And it's not necessarily in their control. I'm like, okay, I have a couple different thoughts about that. Now, who knows? Maybe I don't believe in like killing anything. Like, you know what I mean? This is where it gets tricky. If that's the case, that's very unfortunate. It's probably the shittiest thing ever. At the same time, there are people who were born from their mother not having an abortion and the mom got raped and the child was born. And the child grows up to make a huge impact on life and on people and creates a big impact on this planet. So it's like, should that person's life not have been here? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, it's so shitty in that the man, like if it's a man raped a woman, that man doesn't deserve to have that child, so to say. Like, you should be fucking go to jail. You should get I don't know if you should get the death penalty or not, but you should just some sort of you get fucked the fuck up sort of shit, because that's completely not okay, right? Like I said, I'm not here to call what human beings live or die. That's not my place. Like, I'm not the creator of life. Like, it's not my position or my place. So I'm thinking like, dude, is this a part of God's plan? You know what I mean? Like, not to get raped, but more so to have this child. It's a touchy thing, right? It's kind of weird. And people are going to disagree. People will agree and disagree and all of that. Now, like I said, it's like that life is still valuable, but does the mother have the capacity to raise that child? Maybe that's part of the struggle of those people's life. Maybe that's the lesson that they're here to face. That's their struggle they're here to face on this planet in this lifetime. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of believe that we all we keep living life. Let me re-say that. We cycle through different lifetimes until we've learned all the lessons here on Earth to kind of graduate to the next lifetime. Like, I believe in that to a degree. Now, there's other sides and other angles and points that we can look at it that would slightly debunk it. But at the same time, I think that's kind of what happens. Like, we reincarnate to our choosing of life lessons. Like, our higher self is like, all right, what's it going to be like to be somebody who is a successful businessman in this lifetime? What's it like to be somebody who experiences death, somebody who well, maybe not even a successful businessman, but like whatever problems you are here to face and solutions you're here to help offer. Like, I think that we kind of choose that to a certain extent. Like, with different spiritual work I've done and different things I've learned and heard, it's like at certain times you pick a different life that you come down here to live. And whether you are, you know, the fucking guy who rapes somebody, the woman who rapes somebody, like, you are the guy or the woman who gets raped, or you are the guy or the woman who commits murder, or you are the guy or the woman who gets murdered, or you are you know what I'm saying? Like, there's different variations of all these things. And it's like, in order for life to exist, both people have to exist. You know what I mean? It's like, it's weird, but in this lifetime, in order for life to be life, like I don't know that there has to be, but there is, and that's why I say has to be. There is rapists, and there is people who get raped, and there are people who kill people, and there are people who've gotten killed, and there are people who steal shit, and there are people who protect stealing shit, and there are people who want to fucking drown kids, and there are people who help save kids from drowning. There are people who are here to be completely uneducated, and there are people who are here to completely help educate people. Like, it's kind of all in the cycle of life. And this is why it's like, I don't necessarily look at anything in life as bad or wrong or right or wrong or good or bad. It's more just what is. Now, anything that we add on top of what just is our own human meaning and our own definitions through our own interpretations of collections of experiences of life.
Damn, dude.
So with that being said, we all have a different collection of experiences in life. And how do we use those to find somebody who we want to share the rest of our life with? So with somebody we want to procreate with, somebody we want to have kids with, right? Like, how do we navigate that? It's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't want to be somebody who's a robber and you end up marrying a cop. You know what I'm saying? Or that you get together and that one person wants to become a cop and the other person wants to be a career criminal. Like, it just doesn't, the math doesn't math. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think when we take the time to vet our partners, we take the time to really figure out who the fuck they are, what they want, what they mean, what they stand for. Like, we ask the harder questions, we have the conversations about the deeper things, and you take the time to let that person expose who they are without having to put pressure on them.
Damn, dude.
Like, for example, like, if you're talking to somebody and you talk long enough without jumping into a relationship, you get to see how good or bad of a listener they are. You get to see how patient or impatient they are with certain things naturally, without you being this force of whatever already in a relationship without knowing these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? So, like, I'm looking at this whole situation and it's like, fuck, okay. I had kids with somebody who I don't want to be with and I don't agree with in life. Now, at the same time, I still got mad love for her, but at the same time, I don't want to spend time or hang out or anything, and vice versa, right? Now, I did for a while, in a good while, and it was like, I'm like, okay, I'm with somebody who's fucking fun and adventurous and open-minded and spiritual and who's a good parent and all these things, and there's good conversation. And then eventually, as time went on, it just started flipping, and it's like the other person's, I don't want to say front, but like ability to vibe on that level, I thought was very real because it had lasted for so long. And then at a certain point, it all kind of switched up. And I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? It's like at certain times, I'm like, man, I was tricked. How the fuck did I get tricked? But there's no getting tricked. It's like whatever your ability to see and comprehend at the time was all you had in you. You know what I mean? Like that was your ability to see and comprehend who that person was, what they're about, all of those things. Now, you know, something that's really weird that fucks me up just to think about is like people who are nice and kind and sweet just to the people in their circle. And then they're like not nice or like outwardly nice to the rest of the world or general public or however you want to say it, right? They're not good at relationships outside of their handful of tight relationships. And then I look at that and I'm like, well, holy shit. I kind of misconstrued a lot of people's actions because they were so cool to us within our circle, and I never got to see them not be extra cool to other people outside of that. And it's like, if they don't really want good for the rest of the world beyond themselves or their little circle, that's a huge red flag, and that's a huge issue. Because a lot of times if somebody's only cool with and only nice and whatever with the people in their immediate circle, that means they probably just have some solid friends who understand the way they are and let a lot of shit slide. You know what I mean? And it's like when you let a lot of shit slide, it just that person doesn't have the ability to learn, you know what I mean? And then when somebody gives them a criticism, they flip out or whatever. It's like, I don't know. It's like the whole point of what I'm saying is to be able to be with somebody and hang out, spend time with somebody and put yourselves in as many different positions as possible so you can really see who they are. You see how they interact on their own. You see how they interact. Whoa, shit. Phone vibrated in my pocket, scared the shit out of me. You get to see all these different positions and how they operate and who they really are, right? And that's kind of the problem with jumping into relationships is you kind of skip and bypass a lot of that. So that's where it's like, I don't know, dude, getting to really spend time getting to know somebody is so important. Because like, it makes a world of a difference who you're with and who you have kids with. And I know I keep saying that because it really fucking does. Now, it's like having kids is a beautiful blessing, and having kids with the wrong person can be a beautiful nightmare of confusion.
Damn, dude.
Like truly. So now it's like, how do you have kids with the wrong person if your children are a blessing from God?
Damn, dude.
This is the quandary. This is the paradox. This is the crazy duality that exists, right? Like, how do you have your most beautiful blessing from somebody you cannot fucking tolerate?
Damn, dude.
How does that exist? You know what I mean? So that's why it's like, that's why I think it's like, I don't believe that God makes mistakes. I believe that mistakes are of human meaning and interpretation. It's like animals and nature, Mother Earth does not assign meanings to things. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it doesn't care if there's a pier built in the ocean. If the wave has to come, the wave has to come. If the pier gets crushed, the ocean doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? The same way the pier doesn't care. It's like, but we care. Oh, I built it. Oh, it's been here since whatever, since 18, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we assign meanings to things. So I don't necessarily believe that God or the universe or whatever you believe in, our creator, makes mistakes. Like if there's a fish born with a half a fin and there's a leaf that was grown and it had holes and it was misshapen, I don't think it's a mistake. I believe that's just that item of nature's lesson of this lifetime. You know what I mean? And it's like us humans just assign meanings to things. So having kids with the wrong person, that's such a weird paradox to me. And that's why I think like, okay, if somebody gets raped, is it okay to abort that child or not? Or is it the right thing to do? Or, you know what I'm saying? It's like, which plane do we stand on with that? Is it a gift from God, or is this the most evil, treacherous thing ever? You know what I mean? It's like, which one is it? Like, so if that child grows up and because of the circumstances they were raised in, it pushes them the other way to do such good in this world. You know what I mean? Like, that's not is it a mistake or an accident then? You know what I mean? But so this is what fucks me up about this, right? So I look back and I'm like, okay, well, let's say the case isn't as extreme, because most people who are born aren't born of their mother getting raped or their dad getting raped, because it goes both ways. You know what I'm saying? There's fucking women out here who will lie and cheat and use fucking kids for money and use kids with different people for different status and all these different things like that, right? You know what I'm saying? She can claim she's on birth control and she's not. There's a million routes, right? Poking holes in condoms, like crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm just saying whatever the fuck I can think of about it. So it's like, we're taking all the extreme cases out of this and we're talking in general now, which is, if you have kids with somebody, it made sense at the time, whether it was an accident or not. Like, you were with that person. I was with that person. We were with that person, however you want to say it. And you had kids. Now you guys don't get along. What is it? What is that now? What do? You know what I mean? Like, what now? Your kids are the most beautiful blessing you can have, yet you're having to deal with somebody you fucking do not get along with. And you're literally having to deal with them now rather than getting to be with them. And there's a big fucking difference when you're just dealing with somebody versus like enjoying somebody. Now, some people, when they have kids, they split, they can still get along and all that. Cool. Now, it's kind of more common that that's not the case and you have to fucking deal with the other person because of your actions and your consequences and all that. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, I think when that happens, the best stance that we can take is to have the understanding and take the context of, okay, I now have the ability we have the ability to create 2 happy homes versus 1 unhappy home. Now, let's say one of the parties is just a miserable person and isn't happy. Okay, now unfortunately your kids have 1 unhappy home and 1 happy home. That's still better than 1 unhappy home. You dig?
Damn, dude.
Like, for reals. And it's like, all right, you got to consider that. Like, how can we create life and happiness and everything to be what we all want and what's best for the children? And it's like, this is where a lot of parents will sacrifice so far to where they lose their own happiness, and then they start losing the ability to create that happy home for themselves and their kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you really take the time to get to know somebody, like through and through, all the way through, and you really take the time and you treat it seriously, like a lot of dudes and a lot of women, we don't have the patience to do that. It's like, you want to fuck, you want to get laid, you want to whatever, you want to do all this shit. That's fine. But at the same time, it's like, you got to understand and know like what comes with that. You know what I mean? If you're going to have a kid, if you're going to potentially, maybe if you're setting yourself up in positions to maybe have a kid, any of these things like this, right? What happens if we don't take the time is that the person's ability to be cool, their front, their whatever, it changes up. You know what I mean? And it's like, at the same time, like, people will change. So I think this is why kind of getting to the core of who somebody is through communication, friendship, taking the time, observing, understanding, letting the person expose themselves. And I don't mean in some like crazy negative way. I just mean expose and show their cards of who they actually are. You get to see them work through tough shit and you see how they respond and how they react. You know what I mean? Like, I remember I had an ex-girlfriend who she was telling me about one of her guy friends, and she was like, yeah, my guy friend, he won't date any girl or woman unless one of her parents have died. And I was like, what? I was like, that's weird, but like, I kind of get it. You know, I'm like, what the fuck? But I guess his theory was that once a woman has lost her parents or a parent, she's gone through some hard shit, and she's kind of gone through the biggest and hardest emotional pain that she could ever go through. So now she is who she is from here forwards. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, interesting, you know? Like, I get it. I wouldn't specifically look for that myself, but it's like, I get the sentiment. I get where he's coming from, right? Like, but it's like, all right, you know, a woman who's been through some shit, has seen some shit, gone through shit, and her emotional intelligence is likely to be heightened if she was able to work through that by herself or even with her ex or whoever the fuck she was with before and get to this point of peace and where she's at now. So now you've gone through the hardships and now you know how to fucking act, apparently. It's kind of the thing, right? So I'm like, that's weird, but okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess I get it. But my point is that, like, when you get to see somebody go through some shit and you see how they really act, and you're not just seeing them in their best times or at their highest point, you get to really see the real version of them. Like, they expose who they really are. And I don't mean this in some like, you know, oh, you've been exposed. More just like, you see how they act in different scenarios and situations. You see their level of emotional intelligence. You see what help they seek or don't help, or help that they don't. You see what help they seek or not seek. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's like, you can see how quick they change up or not. You see how much they're based in reality and they face the situation or not. You know what I mean? So I think that's what's fascinating is like when you can spend enough time getting to know somebody, then you have the ability to see how the fuck they act when shit hits the fan and they don't have you to lean on and you're not the crutch and you're there holding real support as like a real dope friend would be. And then it's like, all right, at the same time, like, if it's more than friendship, yeah, lean into that. But at the same time, I think there's a level of like, yo, we got to be friends for a good while, because the same way you wouldn't, if you're a dude, you wouldn't hang out with some bitch ass dude who's like, whatever that means to you, right? Like, no, I'm not gonna be friends with this guy. Like, this fool fucking complains too much. And for picking friends, it's that easy. It's like, oh, this guy doesn't get the vibe. We're not kicking it with him. Don't invite him next time. Oh, this guy fucking drinks too much. This guy smokes too much. This guy is not down to fucking try anything. This guy's a pussy. This guy's whatever. Like, you wouldn't hang out with him. Oh, this guy talks too much. This guy fucking snorts when he laughs. Like, shit like that. Like, dudes will just like not want to fucking hang out with other dudes over that. But yet, if a woman's pretty, she's got some fucking titties and some ass and whatever, she's sweet, she smells good, all those things, guys will be like, oh, I don't give a fuck if she talks too much. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, she talks a lot, but damn, she got a nice rack. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, that's when we jump into thinking with our dick and we get small brained, and it's like we're thinking ego, sex, all this sort of shit, and it doesn't actually like do anything for us good in the long run and in the long term. So it's like when we get the ability to see somebody go through shit on their own and you get to be there also, it shows and says a lot about who they are and what you guys' potential is. You know what I'm saying?
Damn, dude.
Damn, dude.
So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right bicycle.
Damn, dude. Damn, dude.
What up, everybody? We bike. So, let's just keep going. Let's keep rolling. You know, when we take the time to really get to know somebody, their front, I don't want to say their front. Let me say their representative. Now, we all have, maybe there's probably a handful of us in this world who don't have this. But I would say almost all of us have our representative. And what that means and who that is the person. It's like the public version of you. It's like the polite version of you. It's the way that you show up at the grocery store, you meet a new friend, or you meet with your group of friends, and you're like, yeah, you know, you're a cool ass dude. Oh, fucking Jim's cool as shit. And then like 3 years later, fucking Jim shoots up the grocery store, and you're like, yo, Jim was such a nice guy. He was such a nice neighbor. He was always waving, and, you know, he enjoyed a good beer, and he was always responsible. And you're like, but you really don't fucking know that Jim's at home fucking twisted, looking at fucking child porn and just being a fucking freak. And you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't get to know that this motherfucker's a crazy fucking piece of work. And you're like, whoa, Jim's a fucking nutcase. You know what I mean? Like, had you taken the time to actually ask Jim real questions and gotten to know him, then you would have understood why he's some crazy fuck. You know what I mean? You just ask questions. Oh, what type of girls do you like? What type of this? Just real conversation. You know, you're there for each other. A lot of friend groups, it's just this surface level thing, and they don't talk about deep shit or their feelings or their emotions or what they care about, what they love. It's like a lot of friend groups just talk about sports and talk about celebrities and things that are just outside of us. You know what I mean? They're not actually real and deep and meaningful, and you don't get to know somebody. And then when somebody fucking flips out or they kill themselves or whatever, you're like, oh man, like what happened? Like, dude, had you guys had some real conversations, you would have known exactly what happened. You know what I mean? Like, I look at it, and none of my friends are like this, but if any of my friends were to fucking do any of that crazy shit, I would know why, because we've all kind of taken the time to know this person fucking has these type of anger issues. This person has this type of depression shit. This person has this type of whatever, right? This person flips the fuck out when they don't get what they want or whatever it is, right? Now, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of back to my point. Is like, well, once you kind of start becoming friends with somebody, start knowing this, and they have a safe place to act out or act whatever and expose their real nature of doing shit. So it's like, I don't think there's real mistakes in life. Like, I think there's just what happens, and then it's either like, all right, I lacked responsibility by asking certain questions or having certain conversations, or I did take the responsibility and ask questions and got to know this person, and when shit hit the fan, I'm very understanding and I know why and I know how to be there for them. But if you don't take that time, it's like, man, this person's a fucking crazy fuck, you know? And it's like, there's a big difference between understanding why somebody's being fucking crazy or not versus being like, man, this fucking guy's crazy. Like, there's a huge difference. And how often does that happen in relationships to where, people are like, man, she turned fucking crazy, or, oh, he turned crazy. And it's like, well, I doubt the person just turned crazy. You know what I mean? It's more, at the same time, it's like their real self kind of started coming out. They were able to suppress it. And some people can suppress their pain and their hurt and their anger for years until it kind of boils over. And reason being is they don't even know that they have that anger or pain or whatever that is even being suppressed. They wrap it up in like physical shit. Oh, like, you know, I got a good wife. I got kids. I got this. I got that. And then not knowing this whole time, your partner or you, that they've been suppressing, they've been suppressing what happened to them in second, third grade for fucking 20 years now. You know what I'm saying? 30 years now. Like, you don't understand that the shit from their childhood is resurfacing because they don't even know it. Or they have some sort of awakening. And that's usually what somebody having an awakening or spiritual awakening or whatever is that all their suppressed shit from when they were kids just boils up to the top. And then once they've fucking watched enough baseball games, football games, fucking entertainment, movies, fucking bought enough cars, bought enough motorcycles, bought enough jewelry, bought enough whatever the fuck makes you cool, until they're like, fuck, I have no fulfillment. I have no real happiness. Where is it? All of it's all of it's fake. All of it's bullshit. Like, that's why it's like, I think that's the deeper version of when people say, oh, money can't buy you happiness. Like, it can to a certain degree, but you have to like be happy inside. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's work that you do inside yourself that is like, is of acknowledging your past shit, and you've combed through and worked through your childhood, and you've combed through and worked through your teenage years and your early 20s, and you've taken the time to understand. And how you can tell a person who's done that is somebody who doesn't act old, somebody who doesn't judge teenagers or younger people or any of that shit, right? Like, when you can be understanding of teenagers and younger people and kids and people in their early 20s and shit like that, that's a sign of somebody who's kind of taken the time to comb through their past and be like, and created peace with it. You know what I mean? If you haven't created peace with your past, you're gonna encounter problems the older you get. And the more shit that you earn and the more successful you are and the more you haven't faced it, the bigger the crash for that person's gonna be. This is some of the realest shit ever, dude. Like, so that's what I'm saying is, like, we have to take way more time getting to know our potential partners, and especially people we're going to have kids with or potentially have kids with. And a lot of us just want to get laid too fast. A lot of us just want to fulfill a missing piece of us. A lot of us just want a partner to actually just give us the affection and attention that our parents didn't give us when we were kids.
Damn, dude.
That's almost the whole reason why we act out and we want and we can't wait and we have no patience, is because we're filling a void that our mother or father didn't give us. On some real ass shit.
Damn, dude.
It's like a lot of us are getting into relationships purely to fill in an emotional void that our parents or a teacher or influences left us with. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of us are filling this void of, I got laughed at in second grade. I got laughed at in third grade. I fucking got called stupid. I was humiliated. All these things. And if that person hasn't made peace with those things and they still blame somebody and they're still a victim, you're going to have fucking problems. You're going to have problems because that person is going to seemingly change. And the reason that they change is not because they turn evil, but it's because they haven't healed the shit from their past. And when you haven't healed the shit from your past, it's got to recycle, because lessons will always repeat in this lifetime. And if you don't learn the lessons and learn how to deal with it when the trigger comes up, the trigger's always going to come up. But how you handle it and how you relate to it is the difference. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if we know how to handle our triggers when they are triggered and when they come up, we get to be a free person and move forwards. We don't repeat and change and turn into this angrier person and turn into a shittier person and turn into a more bitter person. We turn into a more free, more happy, more loving, more open person. Now, this is really how we can fucking tell these things, you know? It's like, I think we need to ask questions and have conversations of like, dude, like, where does that feeling come from? Have you traced that back to the first time you've ever felt that? And that's an important question I have to ask myself all the time is, when's the first time I ever felt this way? When I get pissed or I get offended, it's hard, but I have to stop and ask myself, when's the first time I felt this way? When's the first time I experienced this? Because when you ask yourself that question, for myself anyways, it goes from, okay, like, my last relationship. Well, there was a piece of that in my prior relationship to that, and there was a piece of that in my prior relationship to that, and there was a piece of that in my prior relationship to that, and then there was a piece of that happened from my school teacher, then there was a piece of that happened from my mom and my dad, and there was a piece of that happened when I was fucking 6 years old. Wow, 6 years old, that was the first time I ever felt this way. holy shit. Now I can, it's like, well, how the fuck did I get through it when I was 6? Then again, when I went through it with my mom, my dad, my teacher, my fucking relatives, my friends, my work, my ex-girlfriends, my old relationships, my old friendships, whatever, right? It's like, how the fuck did I get through all of that? What did I do? And then your mindset kind of sparks and the answers start revealing themselves because you're taking the time and doing the work to fucking trace back to the earliest point you felt that. Because like I said, most of us are just trying to fill this emotional void that occurred this one time when we were little and we didn't necessarily have the capacity to understand. And now that we do have the capacity to understand, we're all fucking way more confused than when we were children. Because we're just filling that emotional void. And it's like we're putting our present into the future and into the past and putting our past into the future. And then we're no longer present. So.
Damn, dude.
I needed one of those. So I think that when we get into relationships or we start getting involved with somebody, it should feel effortless. Like I realized in all my past relationships, there was always this like feeling or urge or need to accommodate. Now, it's like that should not exist in a good relationship. And I'm looking back on my own relationships and I'm like, damn, there was almost always this need to accommodate to some capacity. And there was times that I thought for the longest time that there wasn't, just because of the reality I was living into and the suppression of that person's pain that led to them changing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I thought it was effortless, but I didn't realize that I was being accommodating in certain ways. And then I started having to be so accommodating that I was no longer able to even be myself, to where I started turning bitter and upset. And it's like, man, this sucks. And then that person turns even further that way. And it's like, dude, now that I jump out of it, I'm like, holy fuck, I've came to peace with all of my past shit as far as I can consciously think of. And I practice going back to my past a lot in terms of healing, not dwelling, or just remembering, you know. There's memories I have to consciously think of because I don't want them to go away. Like memories of my little sister. She passed away right before she was 2. And if I don't consciously stay remembering memories of her, I'll forget. And then her point in existence of life and living and being kind of goes in vain, right? It kind of goes to waste. And it's like, if I don't take the time to consciously remember and feel that, then I lose touch of myself and I lose touch of reality and I lose touch of the point of the whole lesson of her even living and dying here. You know what I mean? And me experiencing that as a child. So I like to take time to consciously remember and think about people who I know who have died or passed away, or the different times I've been hurt or upset or let down or made fun of or whatever. Like, if I don't take the time to do that, then I lose sight of it all. And it's been proven that you can go back, and it's been proven, and this is science, that that when we go back and visit memories, we are actually visiting the last memory of that memory. So, for example, my best friend dies. Every single time I've thought of that since it actually happened, I'm only remembering the last memory and feeling of how it felt, not the initial one. So if I go back, I can actually get back to the core memory of it, and I can start implanting different messages inside of it. This is why, and I can start implanting different messages inside of that. So that way, when I go back to remember, I'm only remembering the last memory of it. And if I've implanted a good message into there, and if I've implanted the lesson into that last memory, I'm now doing the act of healing and growing and moving forwards and still honoring that my best friend's death and still honoring their passing. And that's why when somebody dies, like when it first happens and you hear it excuse me, and you think about it, you cry. It's sad. But then as you move forwards, it's no longer as painful. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I look at it and first it was just like the pure sadness of my friend passing. And then I look at it and it's like still the pure sadness and the pain and the hurt and the confusion that comes with it and the anger and everything that comes with it. To eventually it comes to a point of like, okay, I'm at peace with this. I accepted. I'm moving forwards, blah, blah, blah. And that's where it's like, okay, that's implanting so my last memory of my best friend passing is like, man, he was a beautiful person. He gave everything that he could in this lifetime, and he lived his life to the fullest. So now I've in turn healed that event because my last memory of it and all the last memories I have, and as far as I go back, instead of being tragic, I think, wow, my best friend was beautiful. They were an amazing person. They did some good shit in this lifetime and in this world and on this planet. You know what I mean?
Damn, dude.
So this is why I think it's so important to go back and trace shit to our past, to our childhood, and see if that person is really just buying cars and buying watches and buying jewelry and buying motorcycles and buying whatever to mask and patch the emotional void that occurred when they were a child.
Damn, dude.
Because that's what most of us are doing, is we're just filling that emotional void as we, you know what I'm saying? We keep buying more and we keep fucking doing whatever your thing is. You're cheating, you're hooking up with different guys, girls, whatever your thing is, right? You're drinking more, you're smoking more, you're fucking whatever, just to fill that emotional void and to not feel the pain. You know what I mean? Well, if everybody notices me in this nice ass car with this nice ass watch, then I don't have to go back and think about when my parents didn't think I was shit. You know what I'm saying? When my teacher fucking shit on me, when my parents shit on me, when my family told me I wasn't shit, when my family told me I wasn't good enough, when such and such hurt me, when whatever. It's just filling that emotional void. Now, if we don't take the time to go back and heal that emotional void, it's a recipe for disaster. So I feel like when you can hang with somebody effortlessly and you want to do things for each other, that's a good point and start of a relationship, I believe in, from what I observe and experience. You know what I mean? Like, a good relationship cannot be built off of emotional voids and you guys filling that emotional void. You know what I mean? It's just not it. Like, it's just not gonna do anything good. Both of you guys are gonna change. It's gonna blow up in your face and you're gonna be angry and bitter. And then now you've just reset your entire generation back to point zero, because now the whole point of your family is, oh, like, they didn't fill my emotional void. Fuck them. Now you're 50 and divorced and buying Corvettes. And you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with being 50 and divorced and buying a Corvette, but a lot of people are doing it for the wrong reason. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can only fill emotional voids so deeply before you actually got to go back and like actually patch and heal the shit. You know what I'm saying? You can only put sandbags in a pothole so many times before the sandbags explode and the pothole is just its even deeper than it was in the first place, because now the sand is rubbing in it and it's made it worse. And that's what a lot of us are doing, is filling our emotional potholes with sandbags and not actually taking the time to go back and fill it with asphalt and gravel and patch it up the right way to where we move forwards and it's like, yo, I can travel this road safely now. I don't have to worry about my suspension getting bottomed out. I don't go worry about blowing my tire, cracking my rim, none of this shit. We can go back and travel this road smoothly. But a lot of us go back and fill our emotional road with fucking sandbags and fucking twigs and sticks and leaves and fucking watches and Corvettes and, you know what I'm saying? Alcohol and drugs and cheating and whatever, right? Weekends. You know, a lot of people's like emotional patch is the weekend because they hate the fuck what they're doing all week. And then on the weekend, it's like, oh, I got to do this and that and the football game and this and that. It's like, that's why there's nothing wrong with participating in those things. But if you haven't taken the time to like be by yourself and feel some shit, then that's a problem, I believe. So it's kind of like, it's a telltale sign when somebody's way too into sports, when somebody's way too into a certain activity, when somebody's way too into one particular thing. Now, it's like, okay, well, somebody's a master at their craft and that's what they love. Fine, but at the same time, dude, like if you look at people who are dedicated to being a musician for their whole life, they're pretty talented at other shit too. You know what I mean? It's not that they only do that. Like I look at it, it's like, I don't know why this just popped in my head, but if you look at like Machine Gun Kelly, the rapper, now he's like a rock star. The dude knows how to fucking like do flips. He can fucking 360 flip a skateboard. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of these like dudes who are good at shit, who are professional one thing, are actually good at a whole lot of shit. And that's why they know how to be professional at one thing, is because they've fucking invested the time into feeling out all the different things, so they were able to have the space to do that one thing. Like, look at fucking anybody who's a superstar, like Drake, right? Like, yeah, he's known for singing and rapping, but at the same time, he can act, he can fucking dance, he can do all these other things. And you look at anybody who's a real superstar, they are able to do a whole lot of different things. Even like Kobe or Michael Jordan, like, you know what I'm saying? Like whoever, Michael Jordan, he can fucking golf. He can play basketball. He can play baseball. He could do all these different things. You know, look at Lil Wayne. He can rap. He can fucking skateboard. He can, you know what I'm saying? He's got different skills and talents. So a lot of these people like who are really successful, it wasn't just one thing. So somebody who's obsessed with just one thing, that's kind of usually a sign, I believe, I'm no professional, but what I believe and observe, that they are filling in their emotional voids with blank activity. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know, dude. We really got to get real with ourselves. And I think when we pick partners, we need to see, observe, and ask and handle those things. And a lot of times, once you're involved with somebody and you haven't taken the time to do that, you become a part of their emotional void filling journey. You know what I mean?
Damn, dude.
And that's never what we want to be for somebody, because that's not it. Like, we can't lean on each other for happiness. Like, you need to source your own happiness. I need to source my own happiness. And then we come together and add that. And when we go through tough times, we're going to work through this emotionally, intelligently, responsibly, and in a fucking smart manner that's of growing love, not filling emotional voids.
Damn, dude.
Damn, dude.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like when we can take the time to be with somebody effortlessly, and we want to do sweet things for each other. We want to take care of each other. We want to please each other. We want to go above and beyond, not because I need to accommodate anything for you, but because you're so cool, you're so chill, you don't need anything. I want to do this. You know what I mean? That's the shit that I think we need to look for. And yes, that's hard to find, but at the same time, once you start doing the emotional work and patching your own emotional voids and healing them correctly, not just putting sandbags in them, but you actually take the time to heat up the asphalt, you lay it, and you fucking put a solid foundation into yourself, then you can move forwards, and you deserve that. Then other emotionally healed people will recognize your emotionally healed person and self, and then you guys get to grow and flourish and have that together. So I think, to me, moving forwards, looking at any relationships, that's the only thing I want, is like somebody who's able to heal their own emotional shit and at the same time just be additions to each other's life. You know what I'm saying? Not emotional void fillers to each other's life. You guys, this has been the Damn Dude Podcast, and still is and always will be. Season 2, episode 70. I'm your host, California Cal. Hope you guys have a beautiful day. I got to get to work. I got a gang of shit to do. And I got to say, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell your best friends, cousins, uncles, duck trainer about the Damn Dude Podcast. Leave a 5-star written review wherever you can, or specifically on Apple iTunes. Apple Podcasts, I should say. It helps us a lot. Helps us grow the show. And helps us keep us in a top 10% of all podcasts in the world out of about 3 million podcasts. Let's keep going. Let's keep fucking doing this. The world needs these messages and this message that this show is here for. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Have a beautiful day. Much love. Peace.
Damn, dude.
Damn, dude.